Welcome to Super Entrepreneurs Podcast. Today we have with us Dr. Jonathan Baktari. How are you, Jonathan? If you don't mind me calling you Jonathan, or should I say Dr. Baktari?
No, Jonathan's amazing. That's fine.
Okay, that's great. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. We actually enjoy and we like the guests to introduce themselves in their own words, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah. So I'm the CEO of E7 Health. Prior to that, I was practicing clinical medicine. I was a professor in med schools, and I also did administrative medicine. But I really took all that experience, and we tried to develop organizations that culturally had, common themes, which was one, allowing our staff to grow and have the best possible life they could have, both professionally and financially, as well as putting out a product, in this case, healthcare, that really empowered the lives of patients, reduce stress in their lives, and help them get the healthcare they deserve. But to really come at it from a cultural point of view in terms of our organization, and then leverage technology also. So we're a software technology company. But at the end, it's really the organization that drives all that. And that is, building culture and understanding that both, your staff as well as who you are basically selling to, their concerns are addressed. So I think that's really sums up what we do.
Excellent. And it looks like, you mentioned software. So is your technology or what we work in involve artificial intelligence?
Not yet. We're getting there. I think our technology, as you know, healthcare can be very challenging and a lot of obstacles. I mean, to this day, most people show up in a medical institution, they're given a clipboard. And, that's sort of the standard fare right now, despite the fact that, every other industry is light years ahead of sometimes what healthcare is. So our goal is to reduce barriers when people interact with the healthcare system and, reduce friction also for the person providing the care, so that the bulk of the time is spent actually face to face and not doing other stuff.
So is something that you're going to get into in the future, I assume, because it
the artificial intelligence
right?
part is, what we do right now is, we won in 2019, we won the number one healthcare technology company award by the Las Vegas Sun and Cox Communication. And we were one of hundreds of companies competing for that. And one of the things I think that made our organization stand out is the fact that we have really innovated in a way where we've taken most of the friction out of a doctor-patient experience, where technology is not there to burden the patient or burden the doctor, but the technology is there to get rid of everything. So most of the encounter is just spent face to face and not worried about, complying with health insurance guidelines and getting reimbursements and whatever, but more, what can we do to improve? Now, we do have, in the sense that in our software, we have a lot of safety features. For example, if it's too early for you to have a certain treatment or there's contraindication for you to have that, all of that is built in our technology, where our technology, if we try to give you a certain treatment or schedule you for a certain visit and it's either too early or there's a contraindication to give you a medicine, for example, our software, our technology will actually, stop that from happening and alert the provider that, hey, there's a contraindication to doing this. So in that sense, I think, I don't think that's necessarily artificial intelligence, but I think there are ways you can leverage technology to improve quality by just getting all the data in one place, so mistakes and going in the wrong direction doesn't happen. So if you came in, for example, and you had a latex allergy, and somebody recommended you get a certain vaccine that's drawn up in a latex, or in a latex bottle, the software would prevent that from happening. And so to that extent, we also reduce medical errors, and we also recommend, like our system automatically calculates, when your next visit should be based on what we're doing for you. So we're not guessing, you should come back in 3 weeks, 6 weeks, a month, 3 months. Based on what we're doing for you, that the technology will anticipate that and alert the person that, you should come back in 6 months or 3 months.
Yeah. It's somewhat like a cousin of artificial intelligence. It's in the same family.
And I guess you could look at it like that. Yeah. So we take a lot of anything that would involve approximating or guessing, we make it precise.
Are you still practicing?
No, I stopped practicing 10 years ago, but to a certain extent, I do practice for friends and family. So I have my medical license, so I do take care of friends and family.
So that's good.
Believe it or not, that actually, that in itself is pretty interesting, because that's very rewarding, because your friends will call you up and say, "Hey, I'm in an ER somewhere," or this and that, and it's really nice to be able to help.
Of course, as long as you don't have to go in the middle of the night somewhere, God forbid. But
I have a couple of times for friends who've been in a difficult situation. So, but that's a lot. That's just part of it. That's joy.
That's great. That's wonderful. And you creating all this technology is basically providing service to others, and you're creating the software, you're creating the tools that makes things better for others. There's no question that's really, really a good thing to do, especially in your profession.
Yeah, especially in our field of medicine, because I think there's been a lot of resistance, because traditionally medicine's been done a certain way, and we've had a lot of innovation in terms of pharmacology and drugs and procedures, but healthcare technology, over the decades has lagged behind. There's been a push, to kind of accelerate that and get caught up with other fields. I've listened to some of your podcasts you did before, and in other fields, there's been a much livelier push to move ahead with technology. I think medicine has traditionally had a lot of obstacles to progress in technology, multiple reasons. One, it's just very, that's the way we've been doing it. And also, we have insurance companies and government regulations to deal with. So there's a lot of different masters that you have to deal with when you develop technology.
Mm-hmm. And so getting those approvals must be a difficult job as well.
Well, if you're dealing with getting, complying with government regulations and whatever, and I think that's been the hindrance. So, but we've taken a different approach. We put the client and the patient first, while we still deal potentially with other stuff. But I think we've just decided that even though there may be multiple masters we have to deal with, we're going to put the client or patient first, and then work everything backwards from there.
And you have an incredible number of testing locations as well, right?
Yeah, well, with E7 Health, we just launched E7 Health National, so we have about 4,500 locations that you can get some of our services. Our two corporate brick and mortar ones are in Southern Nevada. We're going to be expanding those, but with E7 Health National, we have about 4,500 locations. And then we're going to also roll out our brick and mortar regionally, and then eventually nationally. So we're doing both. So online, we have a presence, but we're going to have a brick and mortar presence, hopefully, in the next few years.
Well, that's excellent. What is it? What does it stand for? E7.
So we have 7 books of business. So that's number one.
Okay.
And then the E is the technology we use to connect all 7 books of business. So you can think of us like a food court with 7 restaurants. And a lot of our clients, get the entree here, the dessert there, and the drink there. And so that's where our technology comes. And we're really the first person in that space where we created E7 Health. And we really created our own category, because even though there are people that do any 1 or 2 books of our business, no one does all 7 books, which is a lot of our clients find very refreshing, because they usually fire 4 or 5 different companies to come to us.
You mentioned clients. Like, who would be a typical client?
We have government agencies, cities, water departments. We have defense firms. We have school, allied health schools. We have all the entire health sector, nursing homes, surgery centers, and then we have retail clients too. So whether we're in 7 books of business that involve adult vaccinations, which is something that no one really talks about. Now everyone's aware of it because of COVID. So in many ways, we were like a COVID company before COVID existed. We were focused on all the books of business that adult vaccinations were involved. This was back in 2009, way before COVID. Yeah. And so we then provide every service around the vaccines. So there's vaccines needed in student health, employee health, travel medicine, even in STD testing. There are STD vaccines. So we provide the vaccinations and then everything around the vaccinations for all our books of business.
You sound like a busy guy.
Technology. Luckily, my job is actually to develop culture and processes. And so literally I could write a book on all the things you shouldn't do as an entrepreneur and all the things you should do, because if you do it correctly, you want to be working not on all that stuff. I have amazing staff that does that, but my job is really how to grow the culture, how to develop processes, how to do critical thinking, how to organize a company that has a culture where everybody feels like the organization is looking out for you, where the management is working for the staff, not the other way around. So it's really interesting, because you would think I'm into the technology portion, which, of course I help lead, but my job is to, provide the mentoring and the problem solvings for organizations to move to the next level. So we focus a lot on developing, ownership from the staff, and then treating them with a lot of respect, and offering them a lot of opportunity for advancement and growth, and having them really feel, that they're not being micromanaged, but they're actually contributing to the organization. That's really, I think I spend, 70-80% of my time, focusing on how to grow a company, and how to empower people. And if you do that correctly, you'll get results that you weren't anticipating.
Well, Jonathan, you have a very calm demeanor about you. So was it always like this, or is this something that you worked on? Have you done some kind of mindset work? Because you're very laid back, you're very calm, very relaxed. So I'm very curious about that.
Yeah, I think that probably, I used to do critical care medicine. If you or your callers or viewers don't know what that is, critical care medicine is taking care of people on life support in the intensive care unit. Yeah. And, nothing could freak you out more than that when you're first starting out. Of course, yeah. And so I learned that, that being calm and I had mentors who taught me that being calm in those kind of situations really, pay dividends, and allowed you to provide leadership if you're calm and direct. So that's number one. And I think number two, leading an organization over time really teaches you how you have to have 4 or 5 gears, right? And you have to know what situation calls for what gear. And sometimes different people require different gears. Some people respond to, being direct. Some people respond to, coaching. Some people respond to empathizing. And it's not, again, I think a lot of that comes from, trying to develop culture in an organization. You cannot just blurt out whatever you want, whenever you want to say it. And then sometimes there is a place to just blurt it out. You just have to kind of figure it out. Yeah. So sometimes
you mentioned you mentioned you had mentors in the past. So may I ask how many mentors in the past you had?
Oh, I mean, over the years, there have been lots of mentors. But I mean, some have been, in the medical field. Some have been in the entrepreneurship and business field. And some have been come from like reading a lot of, books on how to develop culture.
You do like to read books, I can see.
Yeah. I mean, it's, reading books, especially on culture and business development, is helpful, but then you kind of match it up with your own experiences. And so part of it is really, combining kind of learning and then experiencing and try to match that up over the many years. So it's mentors, it's been just, different interactions, and also having a lot of different roles. I've been medical director, I've been in the business side, I've been on the clinical side, I've been on the teaching side. And what you do is you kind of bring it all in to kind of give you one perspective that you kind of run with.
That's awesome. Well, you've been through so many roles. Now, my next question will be, what's the next 5-year plan?
Right. I think I'm sort of committed to, obviously growing our company, but I'm really committed to having our organization evolve and providing leadership and having my staff and our leadership team and our staff to grow our company, but also to grow as individuals and really see as a team if we can take our organization, to a higher level in terms of making breakthroughs, in our case, in healthcare, and providing a solution that hasn't been done before. It's not just copying or being slightly better than the competitor. I think it's, we want to make it so we're not talking about competitors. We're talking about, creating our own thing. And that's what I preach to our staff. Yeah.
Yeah. That's excellent. So on our show here, I don't know if you watch some of the episodes, we always like to ask what your inner superpower is that got you to this point.
I think it's really this. When I look back at the beginning, I think I don't know if it's a superpower because I think everyone has, but I think it's hard work. I think there are people who get lucky and just open up a YouTube channel and make millions of dollars a year or whatever. But I don't think I would plan on that if I was mentoring people. I would say the superpower is hard work. If you're in any situation, whether you're starting college or whatever, I mean, if you work harder than anyone else in the class, put in more hours, you're probably going to get ahead. And same thing with business, career, and same thing with being a father or whatever. You spend a lot of time in your kids, I promise you're going to get a different result. And so I think the power of hard work, whether it's in your personal life or in your business life, you can get lucky. You can just naturally be lucky. Your kids turn out amazing. You can, naturally, become an influencer or buy cryptocurrency and become a billionaire. But short of that, I think you need hard work.
Yeah, it's without massive action. It's hit and miss. You can do all the work that you need to do, But if you're not taking consistent, massive action, if you're going to wait for luck, I don't know. It's quite risky. Yeah.
Yeah. And it can,
risky.
but
Well, it definitely,
I wouldn't plan on it.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely been working hard, and it looks like you're going to continue to work hard. And I'm grateful that we have a person like you out there creating the stuff that you're creating to make things better for others, right? So I'm appreciative for you to come on this show. Thank you so much for taking the time. Obviously, you're so busy. Do definitely keep in touch. I love spreading message here. So, if you have any other announcement you want to share, let me know. Just email away. And
thank you.
Yeah, and I just wanted to ask if you have any final words for the audience. That'll be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, I think, if I can speak to other people who are thinking about developing their own company or whatever, I think the message I would send and I tell people is really, when you're starting an organization, think about a way that you can make the lives of the people who are going to be in your organization better, and then have them also buy in that they are there not just to, have a job, but, maybe have an amazing career. And I think if you put those two things together where they're all in it, and you are going to start an organization where, people's lives will continue to get better as long as they're within your organization, and they're also going to contribute in a way that's meaningful, not just clocking in and clocking out. When you marry those two things, you can take almost any organization to the sky.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. That's great advice. Appreciate it. Audience, thank you so much for joining us today. As always, please visit my website, shahiddarani.com, and engage with the content, join and follow our social media. And definitely whoever we bring on the show, they also would love to hear from you. Jonathan here, you can see he's a wonderful person. He's doing good. Visit his site. All his information will be in the show notes. Connect with him on his social media, engage, and, learn. And like he said, like Jonathan said, massive action, hard work. So hard work and smart work. So thank you so much, Jonathan. Thank you, everyone else.